Hello everyone. Let me turn my volume off. Welcome back to another video, another pregnancy, motherhood related video, which is, I feel like these are glaring. We'll just be blind for a few minutes. Yeah, so the last video I posted was announcing that my husband and I are having a baby, and I'm finally pregnant after quite a while of trying to conceive. So this baby is just such a huge blessing. I'm so thankful and excited. Here you go. What was I saying? Yeah, so it's crazy to me. I think because we tried for so long that I'm actually making a first trimester recap video. I've been watching these types of videos since I was in high school. I've always wanted to be a mom for as long as I can remember. I've had baby fever since I was like 16 years old. I babysat since I was like 12 years old. It's just, I love kids. I love motherhood, and I'm so excited that it's finally happening for me. Yeah, I do want to do like a whole separate video all about our trying to conceive journey and kind of explain the whole story of how we found out, because it was just the timing of everything was so crazy. I mean, God's timing is always perfect, so I just still can't believe how perfect it was. But anyhow, so let's get into this video. So I found out that I was pregnant May 13th. I honestly didn't really have any symptoms. I think because we were on vacation with my family, that if I did have any unusual symptoms, that I wasn't really paying attention to them. So the first trimester, let's just say I am so thankful to finally, after what felt like an eternity, be out of the first trimester. If you're pregnant watching this or just found out you're pregnant, trying to get pregnant, whatever, I don't want to scare you, but I am going to be honest because I was not prepared for the first trimester. I knew that, morning sickness, and I knew that my mom and a lot of people who I know were really sick throughout not only the first trimester, but their entire pregnancy. So like I had that mindset that, yeah, I figured that I would be sick and throwing up. I knew that that was gonna happen to me, but it's a whole nother thing when you actually go through it yourself. Hi, Stinker. Are you excited for the baby? Are you excited for the baby? You want the baby? Yeah? It's okay. So I'm gonna be honest, my first trimester was definitely really rough, not only physically but mentally, which is something that I was not expecting. I was definitely not in a good place mentally, at a good place with God, at a good place with like my attitude and being positive. Like I was just not even myself. I didn't even feel like myself. It was the weirdest thing ever. And I think that's what hit me the most, is that when you start experiencing all of these crazy symptoms and your body is changing, and it's a big change to adjust to, and I just did not feel like myself. I did not love at first, and there was a lot of guilt that came with that, because I was like, why do I feel this way? Why is pregnancy so awful? Why did God make it this way? But anyhow, let me just say, side note, before I scare you too much, I'm in my second trimester and it's completely different. I feel totally normal, back to myself, better than I ever was before. I'm beyond happy. I'm enjoying my pregnancy. I can honestly say now that I love being pregnant, and I already want it to slow down, because the first trimester felt like literally the longest time of my life. I didn't think it was ever gonna end. And now that I'm in the second trimester, I'm 18 weeks right now. And I'm almost halfway there, and that makes me really sad because I want time to slow down, because the second trimester right now is so good, and I know it's gonna get hard again in the third trimester, and I just want to like stay in the second trimester for as long as possible because it's literally pure bliss compared to what it was. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm so thankful that I went through it, because it meant growing my baby, and I guess all of those symptoms are all normal pregnancy things, so I was thankful that I was pregnant and having a healthy pregnancy. Anyhow, so I got like hit with the symptom train at like 5 weeks, real hard. Like, it was kind of like a few days where I woke up and I was like, I kind of feel sick. And then all of a sudden I just woke up at like 5 weeks and felt like, let's see, how can I describe this wonderful feeling for you? Like the worst hangover of your life, like severely dehydrated, mixed your liquors and beers and everything, didn't drink any water, went to sleep at like 4 a.m., woke up at 7 a.m., puking, headache, body aches, exhausted. That's pretty much how I felt majority of the time. And I'm not exaggerating. I wish I was exaggerating. You feel like you're car sick and have the flu and are hungover all at once. And at first, it's so hard to get through. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I know that there's like a lot of tips and tricks out there, but they only like would give me like the tiniest amount of relief. You honestly just have to do what you can to survive and get through it. And by that, I mean eat what you can if you can, drink what you can if you can. Don't worry about anything else. Exercising, anything, cleaning your house, because you can't. You just have to worry about not puking all over yourself. Okay, so my number one tip. Ow! She's kicking me. Georgia! Bless you. God bless you. Okay, so I'm going to, my number one thing that helped was Unisom. It's like a sleep aid that the doctor prescribed me. Not for sleeping, because it helps with sickness the next day. And at first I wasn't really sure if it was working, because when I took it I would still be sick, but then I would accidentally like skip a day of not taking it, and then I would be throwing up like over and over and over again, repeatedly, all throughout the next day, anytime I forgot to take this pill. So it works for sure. And even now in my second trimester, I finished the bottle and I was like, you know what, I'm in my second trimester now, like I probably don't need it. So I didn't take it for 2 days, and I almost threw up all over the place in the grocery store and had a headache and threw up 3 times. So talk to your doctor if that's an option. I know that once you get further along, there's also other nausea medications that you can take, and I have heard from other people that Unisom didn't work for them, but it really worked for me. Praise the Lord, it really worked for me. And another thing that made the nausea kind of a little bit more manageable was slowly getting out of bed. My mom actually told me this trick. My mom was really, really sick during her pregnancy, so she had a lot of tricks that just made it a little bit easier to survive. So I'm gonna give a little disclaimer here really quickly. I had COVID in January, and one of the side effects that they are discovering is like a long-term side effect from COVID is distorted taste and smell, as in like you get your taste and smell back, but it's like your nerves are all messed up. It's called parosmia. I'll put it up on the screen, the definitions, but basically smells and tastes like food, certain like lotion, my pee, my body odor, chocolate, bread, pizza, all have the same smell. And it is what I'm gonna call the COVID smell, but it's like a rancid, chemically garbage smell. It's the worst thing I've ever smelled and tasted in my life, and it's a side effect of COVID is your taste and smell is just all jacked up. And I think because of pregnancy, it just amplified this up even more, because along with nausea right at 5 weeks, I immediately had like, my smell was amplified, like the smell of rain, the smell of my dogs. Oh my gosh, this was the worst. The way they smelt when they came in from outside, I couldn't do it. I couldn't have them near me. Like, I could cry about it because I felt so bad, because they would come in and try to like kiss me, and I'd be like I couldn't even, I would plug my nose when I let them in the door. Even just the way my house smelled, I was like, why does my house, like, since when does my house smell so bad? Like, that was one thing that was so crazy to me. I remember one night, like, I couldn't do any cooking, and there was no food in the house. We didn't want to go out to eat, so Nate cooked a frozen pizza. I was literally locked myself in the bedroom, plugging my nose, had the blanket over my nose, and I was crying and gagging at the same time, because the way the pizza smelled cooking was so awful. It was making me so sick. It was horrible. It was straight torture. Oh, baby, are you okay? Why are you crying, handsome boy? Anyhow, so right at 5 weeks is also when the smell started, and even into my second trimester, I have had major food aversions, which I haven't had many cravings. It's all just been food aversions. At like 12, 13 weeks is when I started to be able to eat more foods, but it wasn't like I got cravings. It was like there were foods that I was able to eat now that I couldn't have eaten in the first trimester. So food aversions, as in nothing sounds good, nothing tastes good, even the thought of it makes me gag. I had so many of those. It was so hard to find foods that didn't make me gag and foods that didn't have this COVID taste. Like, for example, like I was saying previously, my mom had like a lot of tips and tricks that she did throughout her pregnancy, and that was like drinking lemon water when you first wake up before you even get out of bed, or nibbling on a saltine cracker or like some dry bland cereal when you first wake up, and snacking on it and like nibbling on the cracker throughout the day helped her a lot. But I couldn't do that because the taste of the cracker, cereal, lemon tasted like rancid garbage because of this COVID issue. But I will say, in the morning when you wake up, get out of bed super slowly. That definitely did help. And then I had to eat something as soon as I woke up, otherwise it just made my nausea worse, which was hard to find something to be able to eat. And I had a lot of guilt around eating my first trimester because it was so hard for me to find anything to eat that I wouldn't throw up or just feel so sick from. But that's common. I ended up losing like 15 pounds my first trimester. So I felt like I was, like depriving my baby. But it is a common thing to lose weight because you're so sick in the first trimester and can't eat a lot of food. So just find a food that works for you and just eat it when you can and how much of it when you can. And just, trust that God will keep you and your baby healthy, and He made pregnancy this way, and it'll be okay. And it's true. I just had an ultrasound last week, and the baby, praise the Lord, is perfectly healthy. and growing and kicking. Anyhow, let's see, what else? Oh yeah, one thing that I didn't know, which was so weird to me, is this is probably like TMI, but my stomach got so hairy in the first trimester, which at first I hated. Like, I felt so embarrassed by it, but Nathan was like, I think it's cute. And then I was like, okay, whatever. And then I didn't care anymore. Yeah, so if I'm being honest, not many things really helped me. You just have to get through it. You just gotta do what you can do to get through it. Hopefully you can find someone who understands what you're going through. I talked to my mom a lot, and I was so grumpy and mean to her because I was just not enjoying it, but I knew that she understood what I was going through. But yeah, so if you're going through that, I know that you probably feel like you need support and you need validation for how you're feeling, because I felt like nobody understood what I was going through. 13 weeks, I started to get better. Actually, at 10 weeks, I started to feel better. The Unisom definitely made me started working where I wouldn't feel as nauseous throughout it wouldn't be all day long anymore. But then at 12 weeks, that whole week, I was really, really sick again. Sometimes it was so off and on for me. I'd always be nauseous, but some days would be way worse than other days. And you do kind of just become used to it, and you do adjust. But a few other tips. I definitely was far from God, my relationship with God throughout this. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't watching church. I wasn't, doing a Bible study or anything like that. And I remember one day I was laying in bed just crying when Nate got home from work, and I was like, I just don't know what to do to make this feel better. And he was like, have you prayed? Have you asked God to make you feel better? And I was like, no, duh, why haven't I? And I think it was because I was so excited to be pregnant, and I was so angry that this is how pregnancy was, and I didn't understand why pregnancy was so miserable like this, and I was worried that I was going to be like this my entire pregnancy. So I was just kind of in such a low point. I was feeling really negative and just not happy. And so he encouraged me to pray and talk to God more. And I think that his family was praying, and I asked my family to pray for me to feel better. And my mom also sent me some positive affirmations to listen to, and some meditation type things to do. So I recommend just going in your bathroom, getting a nice bubble bath with some bath salts going, maybe light a few candles, get some water to sip on, because I couldn't drink water fast or I would gag. It's just really so delightful. Anyhow, but get in the bath, relax, pray, listen to worship music, do some positive affirmations, today's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna feel good today. I love being pregnant. You just gotta pull yourself out of that rough place and just survive and make it through, because now I feel so much better and it's amazing. Yeah, so the first trimester was an experience, but there were some good days and some bad days. So if you're going through it, just know that it's rough. You just gotta do what you can to get through it. Because obviously in the end, you'll have your baby and you'll be a mother and it'll be so worth it. But don't do what I did and just shut down and get into a dark place mentally. Try to be positive. Talk to somebody who can help you be positive. Talk to the Lord, pray, ask for prayers. And I wish that I would have done that sooner, because literally as soon as I started doing those things, I started to feel better. Oh, during the first trimester, you definitely experience a lot of cramping and just all kinds of different pains and cramping and what feels like bruising almost to me, which kind of would freak me out sometimes. But then I knew that it meant that, uterus was expanding, my organs were moving, and everything. The baby was growing. So it's easy to be like a little freaked out by it because it almost feels like period cramps or like sharp pains almost sometimes where you're like, is that normal? But I've talked to other people, and it seems to be, you know, cramping is normal. Obviously to a certain extent, you know, ask your doctor if you feel like anything's not normal. When I turned 14 weeks, I believe, yes, 14 weeks, we ended up getting an appointment at a private ultrasound place to do a gender prediction. So we ended up finding out the gender at like 14 weeks in one day or something like that. And so we threw together like super last minute the day of, like a quick little gender reveal. So I'll insert those clips at the end, but I also want to insert some belly shots. Because once you enter the second trimester, that's when the belly really starts like rounding out and looking like a pregnant belly instead of my first trimester. I felt like I just mainly looked pretty bloated. Yeah, but I think that's all I have to say. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. There's definitely going to be a lot more pregnancy, motherhood related videos, as well as I actually have a few fashion videos, like fashion design videos that I have filmed but I need to edit. I always have like 10 videos filmed and just never edit them. But anyhow, that's the end of the video, so I'll go ahead and insert the gender reveal now. Dad, from 5. Okay,